please stand if you're able and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for being here. I'll just remind you, if you have a cell phone or some other electronic device, please put it on mute or shut it off, or throw it out the window, whatever you prefer. We typically start our meetings with a 15-minute public comment period. The rules are, as we always state, please stand and state your name and address for the record. You're allowed 3 minutes for comment, and we ask that you comment once within the 15-minute period. Any public comments to start off? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to the regular agenda. First up, we have Ms. Patricia Spitzley from the Racer Trust is here to talk to us a little bit about the property that they own in East Messina, which used to be the General Motors site. Patricia, I'll open the floor to you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time, and I'll be brief. I just wanted to come before you all and back up. Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to come before you all and just kind of give you an update of what we're doing out on the site. We're expecting to complete most of the active remediation in the first half of 2018, if not in this calendar year. We'll start that. After that, we'll start the process to delist it, take it off the Superfund site. The work schedule is weather dependent, so they're working. The folks out there are working very hard to complete their work. Specifically, they're going to be removing and remediating the stormwater lagoon that's left and the associated structures. Placement of clean soil and grass over approximately 59 acres. And so they have a temporary office trailers right now. They're going to be moving that more closely to the guardhouse, and they're going to be seeding and grassing over that area. So they're even going to be moving their offices. We continue to pursue leads and generate leads from a redevelopment and marketing standpoint. I wanted to make sure that Supervisor Gray knew that I was working on a Sunday for the Village of Messina, so I sent him a picture of us at a conference this past weekend. It's called Select USA, and it's put on by the Department of Commerce, and their sole mission is foreign direct investment. So they had about 3,000 people there. We co-sponsored a reception with the Canadian ambassador in charge right now, because they don't have an official ambassador. We had a booth there, and the Messina property was the property that we chose to showcase there. So we continue to market the Messina property. The sectors that we have generated and pursued leads include general manufacturing, automotive, aerospace and defense, transportation, port logistics, and we've also entertained some destination commercial and retail. We promote the property in the community at various events, including site selection events, community real estate, listing services, online, direct marketing, and to commercial real estate brokers. We were at the largest conference for retail and commercial, which is called Recon in Las Vegas, at the end of May, where we also showcased this. We recognize and we anticipate that once the delisting is complete, that we will even have more folks interested. I will share with you that I continue to get calls from the CSX Select folks. They went through kind of an upheaval or reorg this last year, and so that whole CSX Select process was kind of, they had to lay low while CSX went through this reorganization. But apparently I got a call last week that they're still interested in the site, and so the BOA grant process is almost complete, and we have how it looks like as the recommendations. There is going to be a cafeteria of options in this draft study, from what I understand, and so it's still appropriate for us to pursue CSX Select Site designation. This morning I participated in the BOA grant interagency work group in Watertown. and it was to, showcase the status of the BOA grant and talk about what the next steps are. And so we talked about a little bit of the marketing activities that we did, that I've been doing it on behalf of the Racer Trust for the Messina site, similar to the report I'm giving you right now. So we continue to be focused on maximizing the property's economic potential for the community. We appreciate the partnership of Supervisor Gray and the North Country Regional Task Force, Redevelopment Task Force, in working with us as we continue to market the property. So I don't have more than that to report. I'd be more than happy to entertain questions, but I did want to come forward and just kind of give you an update on what's going on at the site. So I'd be more than happy to entertain any questions or comments that you have.
I think we have a couple new board members, at least one since the whole CSX conversations happened a few years ago.
Okay.
So if you could just kind of give a thumbnail summary of that.
Sure.
Patricia, we appreciate it.
Several years ago, and this was back when Patty Byrne was the CSX railroad representative for this region, we were approached with designating our site, the Racer site here in Messina, a CSX select site. That's a big mouthful, so I'll trip over that probably once or twice while we're talking. But what they do is they look for sites around the country. They get a lot of people that call them up saying, we're looking for rail serve sites of a certain size. And so what CSX did was they decided to pre-qualify those sites, for lack of a better word. And so there's like a 10, 15-page list of qualifying things that you have to provide to CSX, and they review it. And then based on that, the site goes before a board, and you are designated a CSX select site. And again, what that does is that kind of elevates the exposure of a particular site, the Racer site. We will get the benefit of marketing by CSX. We get the benefit of them saying, we vetted this site, they provided us all this information, we're comfortable with the site. One of the things that they thought was attractive were the rail spurs that are on the site. They also liked its proximity to Canada, right off the 201 coming through Cornwall. It would be the first site in the Northeast that would be a CSX select site. It would be also the first industrial site. So it's been a very long process. It's been an extremely long process, but they're still interested, which is a plus for this site. And as we near the end of cleanup and we enter the phase where we're going to start delisting, which from what I understand is a matter of months as well, it certainly elevates the marketability of our site to have that designation. So we're excited about that. We continue to work with them on that. I think that's it. Yeah. But the consultant came here a few years ago, and he met with a number of people. He saw the site, and so he's still very much supportive of the site. He told me last week that, again, they had to kind of lay low while CSX did their reorganization and decided, how they wanted to proceed, but apparently they're still interested in the site, which is good for us.
What would that look like? Would that take up the whole site, and rough estimate how many jobs that would provide, or anything like that?
Well, it depends on whatever industry comes there. They bill it as, with the rail spurs as a rail serve site. So I can't tell you what the specific number of jobs are, but I knew if you look on their website, they deal in large industrial footprints. And again, whatever comes there, it has to follow our 6 criteria anyways, which is jobs, economic development for the community. So besides the designation, it still has to follow the criteria that we have as well.
One of the criteria is tax revenue too.
Yeah, it is.
What can we do to help? Anything?
You guys, Supervisor Gray is supportive. I'll come here and continue to report, and And at some time, we might need a letter of support, and I'll be sure to come and ask you for that.
We about 2 years ago, I met with them, possibly, I met with them, they wanted to know about roads, infrastructure, bridges. There was quite a few questions they asked for about an hour.
It was, yeah, it's intense, isn't it? Yeah,
Very extensive, yeah.
yeah.
So. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we continue to appreciate the support, again, as we move to this and we continue to market your property. I will say in closing that, you know, it's going out to the site, and we'd be more than happy to have you host out at the site whenever you want to. But we look at it from when the trust started in 2011, when we had the buildings and everything, to now, it's turned out to be quite a beautiful footprint there. And so as we were in Canada, and we spoke to the ambassador in charge, and we explained to her and talked to her about, you know, the site, and she even kind of knew about it because she's familiar with Cornwall, and so we were talking to her about the proximity. So we continue to get the word out, and we continue to develop those relationships so that at some point, you know, we'll have somebody interested. Real quick, we're also talking to the governor's office, hopefully working with Empire State to do to get a tour of Canadian firms and maybe some state firms up here maybe next spring to tour around when all the grass is growing and it looks real nice to look at the site as well. So we're doing a number of things to keep that site in people's forefront of their mind.
We appreciate your periodic updates. You're almost like a citizen.
Oh, I keep telling him, I might run for township supervisor.
This is there.
Stick to the city council, it's already.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I think, pretty safe to say you travel the farthest for tonight's meeting, so you got a gold star for that.
Right, I'll take the gold star wherever I can get it, so
Thank you,
I
Tricia.
appreciate it,
Thanks very
thank you,
much.
thank you very much.
And you don't have to stick around for the board, I mean, if you need to leave, you can leave,
Yeah,
we won't be offended.
All right, I'm going back to Watertown, so.
Okay.
But,
See
good
ya.
night, everybody, thank you.
Okay, we, not on the agenda, we do need to do apparently a brief amendment, that is for the library. So Elaine, I will turn things over to you.
Okay, so we're on the agenda. I wanted to talk to you about a project that was just begun at the library that we're very excited about, and it's our Memorial Garden project. So everyone should have a handout. Okay, and I'm not going to read this read for themselves, but there is a memorial garden in place, or there was a memorial garden in place. We have 8 memorial trees there, and most have been neglected since 2011. And you can see the picture right there. It's very overgrown, unattractive, unwelcoming, and ugly should be in there too, as far as I'm concerned. What we wanted to do, my staff, myself, and my board, was to make the outside of the library as beautiful as we believe the inside of the library is. To make it more inviting, to encourage people to sit outside and not feel worried about the type of people that are out there, where they're expected to sit, that it wasn't clean, that they may trip over something. So we decided now would be the time to tackle, to create a real memorial garden. So a couple of years ago, actually, we've been working on this. We decided, as I said, we'd create a garden ourselves. We looked into several possible options. And one of them would be to invite the community to adopt a tree, a shrub, or a bench as a memory, for a loved one. And we did review several estimates, and we decided we would go with Lee Brackett in August of 2016. We were very impressed with his plans. We were impressed, this is Jeff Garlock. We were impressed with the idea that he understood we didn't want a typical bank garden or a Tim Hortons type garden with lots of white stuff and a few shrubs. This is a memorial garden, so it should be somewhere where people can go and just feel comfortable, feel they want to stay. The idea with the library is they can sit outside, and Wi-Fi, of course, connects outside the library as well. So after hours, on Saturday or Sunday when we're closed, they can go and sit on the benches and feel comfortable accessing their device. So that was the whole idea of the benches and so forth. I think he got that. He has a good eye as far as art. He has some type of an art background. He gave us some ideas. We were impressed by what he came up with, and we thought it was a good match with the library and with him. So the work was to begin in spring 2017. Unfortunately, it's been a miserable spring, so the work has just begun. I wanted to talk a little bit about the project funding. This is self-funded, meaning the library is taking care of the entire cost. We have a very strong Friends of the Library group, and they did agree to fund the garden project after reviewing it with us. Supplemental funding is going to come from our staff fundraisers. We've had several fundraising activities when we bank money, and it'll be used for that. And of course, all new trees, shrubs, and benches we're hoping will be funded through the adoption program. And we already have quite a few people interested who approached us about adopting something for the project. So, here's where it stands right now. That's, the first picture is right outside our main reading room. You can see we had very overgrown shrubbery, and that's gone. And the second window is outside our Warren room, and the shrubbery's been pulled out. And part of what we were impressed with Mr. Garlock's project is he likes the idea of being able to utilize what's there as much as possible, rather than just pulling out everything. So he's replanted some things there for now, and they may not stay there, but they're there for now and being watered so they don't die. You can see that on. Next page. What we've decided to do is have him do the whole cleanup for the phase one. He's going to put in little pathways, we'll put in some benches. One of the things I wanted was some type of outdoor area where our children's librarian can have a little program for story time, summer reading program, or if a group, for instance, we have the knitting group that meets all the time. It would be nice in the summer if they could knit outside. So some type of meeting area. And what he created was a horseshoe or a semicircle, and we're calling that the reading area for now. So part of the proposal for phase two was I'm applying this year for New York State Construction Grant, and we're calling it the Garden Entryway Project. State Ed won't cover the cost of a new garden. That's not in their budget. They will replace original outdated side doors, which we have to have done. We're going to have some interior work done to the children's room, and that there's so many activities going on there now. We have some complaints that it's too loud, and parents don't like that the children's room is right next to the side door. Children can easily run out the door, out the side door, and out, right out the side door into the parking lot. So we're going to put a door on there that can be shut when there's some programming going on. And the front entrance, the inner doors are constantly open, so we need to find a better way to utilize that space so heat doesn't escape during the winter months and cold air during the summer months. So we need to do something with those doors. We also need to make them handicapped accessible. It's handicapped accessible on the way up, the doors aren't, and the inner doors certainly aren't. So we need to look at that. Another thing we have to do is replace the sidewalks on the side of the library. And we wanted to add an outdoor sign in the front garden area. So if you look in your packet, second to last page, there's the sign. This is just an initial drawing, the Stewart signs. We like the idea of having a nice sign, goes with the library, but we like the idea of being able to advertise our programming on the sign. So that's what that is. There's some confusion because the outside of the library says Warren Memorial Library, and we've had people looking for Messina Public Library. Is this Messina Public Library? Is there another library? So we just wanted to have that as well. So, and the sign is covered with the state ed grant. Okay. So, phase two work on the next page. For those of you who may not be aware, I know some board members are very aware, and my board, and I'm sure our library patrons are, that's the state of our current sidewalk going up into the library. It's actually a tripping hazard at this point. There's missing stones. They've been replaced over the years, and they just keep coming out. I spoke with Mr. Garlock. This is work he can do. He was suggesting more of a herringbone style because they hold better, and he said it would certainly be winterized and it wouldn't be coming out that way. Where you see the bike rack, that's basically the area where that half circle children's reading area is going to be. Next page on phase two work. I had Frank over to look at this. I call this a tale of two sidewalks. It's very odd because if you look at the side of the library, there are in fact two sidewalks. The first one, in the first picture, there's three surfaces. The first is the actual driveway where people park. The second must have been the original sidewalk. The third is another sidewalk that was put in there, I don't know when. If you look at the picture next to it, you can see when we did our side doors, there was a nice new sidewalk put in for part of the sidewalk, but the other two were left. That is a tripping hazard. In fact, one of Mr. Garlick's men tripped right over into flat on his face, so that's a problem.
Where does that, and this picture on the bottom,
Here's,
where does that sidewalk go?
Right here, Joe, it goes out to the road.
Goes to the road.
Parking lot.
I
goes
saw
out to the
some
road.
pictures too, it's a step down.
Step down onto the sidewalk up to the road.
Sorry, I didn't see that. Thank you.
You wanna see this, or?
No.
And it's towards the road
Yeah, I
side,
know where it
the other
is,
side
yeah.
doesn't have it.
Right, no, I know where it is.
And I think the other concrete we're looking at, I think that's actually some form of curbing
I think, I was gonna say that's
For the
Kirby, I think,
parking
yeah,
lot.
it was, yeah.
that was originally there, and like I said, I got code involved, just so everybody knows, and it's our property. If we don't want that sidewalk to be there, then it doesn't have to be there. You can't, obviously can't remove the sidewalk out front, but the one on the side does not have to be there if we don't want it.
Hold that picture up again on the side.
Yep.
Here's a better, that's the step down, there's like a pipe right there, is that like a,
There used to be a rail, I think, there along that whole sidewalk.
oh, okay, so it was like a
It
rail.
was like a handrail.
Okay.
And over time, it must have got damaged or something.
So it's, yeah, it's uneven too.
If you're looking at the library, if you're looking at the front,
Right, no, I understand that. So we got the new sidewalk they put in,
yeah,
and that comes onto this other old sidewalk?
it comes down to the sidewalk on the street.
You're right, the street sidewalk,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Neither one's in really very good condition.
No, they're not in good condition. The first one is sinking, so it's at you can't really tell in this picture, it's at a lower level than the second
Well,
sidewalk.
there's probably a 2-inch gap
Yeah,
between the two.
which makes it a tripping hazard.
Should that probably be tapered down rather than a step down as well?
On the,
Sidewalk, to the other sidewalk.
yeah, it's not handicap accessible, no. Yes, they should, yes.
So it
If
should
you're
be
gonna-
tapered down.
If you're gonna leave it there, it probably should be modified.
And I forgot to check, what's that sign that's there, the sign post, is that?
It's, I think it's parking.
It's the designation to say is it one way or,
Yeah,
I don't
it's a
know.
one-way sign or something.
Yeah.
Right into the tree, so you really can't see it.
I'm sure that can.
So is there an issue with removing that, or?
It's our property, or I say our property, it's the town's property, and if you don't want a sidewalk on your property, you don't have to have it.
But one of the issues we spoke about, Frank, is if we do remove the sidewalk, and then we have it all nice stone in there, it's gonna be an issue in the winter with the plow. We don't want the stone taken out, so we may need a curb or
Yeah,
something.
well, I think the curb has to remain,
As is, broken?
or fixed or
Fixed.
repaired, but I think you have to have.
Or a
a
real
there.
curb, couldn't it, isn't the curb only about that wide?
Sure, yes, you can modify the curb.
So could all that come out, and then a
So you
curb,
can put a curb in.
That's
put a curb there,
Yeah.
and then if you wanted, you could, Jeff could maybe brick that?
Well, I think
Raising
the intention is to bring that somewhat out to the parking lot, so you, with a wheelchair, you can get up into that reading
Okay.
area.
So it's handicapped accessible.
Okay.
I'd like to make it handicapped.
And that circle's going where the bike rack is?
Yes.
Yeah,
somewhere in that
all the way to the
location.
roads there. So that's what I was writing the construction grant for this year. I spoke with North Country Library System. They thought it definitely fit the categories that state aid is looking for. One in particular is updating doors and windows for energy efficiency. The other is to provide the idea of the sign, that they do cover that type of signage. And I was very happy about that. And this year, the New York State Construction Grant, it's a 25% match, which is very, very generous this year. So it's one we really do want to take advantage of. But when NCLS visited the library, I got a call next day, very excited from my person in NCLS, a funding update. She says actually, now they're saying both phases, phase 1 and phase 2 of the project, would fall in the guidelines of the construction grant, meaning a 75-25% match. Because we are putting in the reading area and we're putting in the sign, she said therefore we become eligible for the tear out, because we have to tear out to put these things in. So the tear out becomes part of the project and it would be included. So this is a great bonus to us. You know, having the lawn sign there, you know, and putting it in that spot, and that will include the pad, the electricity, everything that goes along. I've shown you what we need for that. It's just a really wonderful opportunity. We're very excited. There'll be absolutely no cost to the town and be minimal cost to the library.
So where's the other 25% come from?
Other 25% is coming from the municipal library money that had been earmarked for phase one, and from the library patrons and community members donating for the shrubbery, the trees, and the benches.
Okay, what kind of money are we talking on these projects?
For Jeff Garlock's project, $11,270, which we had intended and have put aside. The sign, $6,600. And basically that's it.
Where's Stewart sign located?
Florida.
Okay.
I consulted them because Madrid Library had done a similar project with some of their state ed funding last year or the year before, and they used Stewart. So NCLS actually urges us to find out what contractors other libraries have used. Was it successful with their problems? And they were very happy with the sign. I've gone to see it. It's very nice sign. And on the last page of the packet, you'll find is the image that Jeff drew. We kind of worked out together. The front entrance. It's pretty basic, but you can see where that circle is going. What's staying, what's going. We can even go around to the side. We have a picnic table in that area as well. We may continue on around there if the money goes out.
Where is the circle in here?
Okay, if you, at the bottom of the drawing,
Yeah,
it says there's a circle.
with a tree,
Go around the corner from the tree,
yeah.
and it's right
Oh,
there at the
that's,
side entrance.
so that's correct, and a bench behind it, I guess?
Right now, we had a bench around that tree, and all the roots are up from the tree. He hoped to be able to do something else with that, but he's going to put up some type of wall with flowers and plants in there, because a sitting bench can't go there because people pick out, and it's brought the roots right up to the surface. But that tree is staying. You know, again, the whole idea of the garden is to really highlight the library. And I think this garden will definitely show a different face of the library, not sort of down on its luck, overgrown, neglected. And we really are trying to move forward with a new image for the library. And
What's the length of the project?
he's working on it right now, so it's started. I would imagine he would like to be finished on and off at the end of the summer. I haven't ordered the sign yet because I just found out we could move ahead on the project. So I can do that.
Is there any local source for, any more local source for the sign?
I can look into it.
You're saying you're spending $6,000 on this sign?
Yep.
With today's technology, is there any thought going to a digital?
The only thing about the
Electronic?
digital signs I've seen, I just find they look a little tacky, like that red writing, a bit like the teletype on the bottom of a news screen. I don't know, it's more of a, I still don't want to move completely away from the traditional look of the library as well.
There's at least one or two sign companies in St. Lawrence County.
I'd be happy to investigate the option. This is just, I just went with what one library's already used and what the library system recommended. But I would be more than pleased to, have a look at some of the other companies.
I think it's great work. I stopped by the other day and I looked at everything taken out, whatever, better exposure of the building. I was concerned about the sidewalk. I'm glad that's going to be addressed. And that, I guess, Frank will have to coordinate with the guys. He's going to be tearing that out, or some, as a contractor, going to be tearing that out.
Contractor, I think,
Okay.
once his name will be doing that work.
Garlic, he's, you know, his people said we're ready with the,
It doesn't fit into my schedule.
Yeah,
that's it.
I don't know if there's anything you had to do to, whatever.
Well, we, you know, I mean, if you want us to come and remove sidewalk, we could do that in probably, you know, couple hours, but as far as, putting back what's in it, it's not gonna happen right now,
No.
I would think.
I don't know if you needed a curb there or something. or the-
If you're gonna take that out, I think the curb's gotta go back in. Now, the village has all the forms.
Yeah, they do a nice job,
You
yeah.
know, they might, you know, get involved in the village and put a curb back in
Yeah.
for us.
I think that would be nice, they do nice work on the
Yeah.
curbs.
They have all the forms, they do.
Should I approach the village, is that?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
If you wanna go with strictly a curb back, that's fine.
I like the objective curve, I don't think, we need.
They do, they've got a crew that does it, they've got everything they
Yeah.
need, the forms, the.
Yeah.
Okay.
People do a nice job.
So would you actually, if you did put a curb there, would you drop it down to
We drop
enter?
it down so that it
the
is
circle.
wheelchair accessible into
Okay.
the circle itself.
Now I look at this picture though, and the shrubs are cut. I look at the railings that are there.
They're going to.
Okay, good, all right.
Sorry,
very
yeah,
good.
the railings are part of the job.
So do we have to have new railings there?
The
or-
railings.
Okay, good. Very good.
So that's phase one, new really?
The railings were part of phase two,
Okay.
but now it's
What-
just all with one big phase, I guess.
What's the budget for phase two?
I haven't come up with a budget for phase two yet, but that does include the sign. I'm working on that because I have to submit my state grant, I have to submit that by July.
Okay, so phase one is just the work the
Yeah.
big racket is
The
doing
project is doing right now.
for 11,000
Terra.
Terra,
Yeah,
basically Terra the replanting and doing the stone work.
something that
This is gonna create some little,
Anything, I'm sorry. First off, you're to be commended. I mean, the library did little over the past 20 years as far as grant application and securing any outside funding because they had a big bank account, they had a big budget from the town. So I'm really glad that you're doing that. Number two, I'm gonna say, where have you been? This stuff needs town approval. And we should have heard about this a couple of years ago when it started, in my opinion.
I have brought it up with my board, we have been going over this for quite some time. I hadn't
Understand,
realized
but
that
yeah, but your board doesn't own the library. The town owns the
But
library.
the town board members were at that board meeting. so
Okay,
they would have
I-
been aware, it should have reported to the town board.
Well, that could be, I just think that this should have had town board approval in mind. I think it's a great project, I think it's gonna improve the library significantly. And as we move forward, if you keep, in my mind, I don't know if I'll be here, my term is up at the end of December, but I believe any capital projects, improvements at the library need to be passed by this board and endorsed by this board. And I'm glad you're able to do this with funding that doesn't impact the town or your budget, but these are changes to our facilities. Therefore, I believe the town should play a formal
I still
role.
feel I made your town members aware when they attended our board meetings. I thought that was the extent.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was gonna be this magnitude. I thought it was gonna be.
Well, this only happened this last week when
Yeah.
I had Frank in, so this is
Yeah.
all new, and I did ask to come to, Frank suggested that I present this whole project.
Yeah.
Because it was just a simple do in the garden, but it
Yeah.
has grown, and it is part of my big construction project.
Right, and it just, we have on several occasions revisited this point about the library board having its authority, but the fact that the library is a town facility and ultimate authority rests here at this town
I
council.
think that's what she's doing right now, is she's presenting this to us.
Right, Sam, but it's been in work since with 15, right, you said?
Well,
The initial.
the initial part was taking shrubs out and putting other shrubs there because it was all overgrown.
And there was a memorial garden to begin with, I'm just improving on a garden that was currently there, paid for by Friends of the Library Fund.
And I think
now
that's
it's turned
great.
into a
I
larger
think
project.
all that's great,
And now I'm here presenting phase two of the
Okay.
project.
All right.
So I think I'm doing what's correct.
okay.
I had brought up before about the bricks being replaced on the side there, and it's been worked on.
We've
Here and
worked on
there.
it, but it's, we're kind of
Hey,
nickel and diming it.
Yeah.
You can only repair so much.
I think going forward, I think it needs a sealer on it, or we need to use a special salt that's not gonna eat the bricks up.
And I had that involved, speaking with Jeff, and we're gonna come up with something, it's gonna be quite
It's
nice.
tough to find something out there that will melt the ice and protect your concrete.
And we have to maintain
Sealer on it.
the fact that it has to be handicap accessible, the stone has to work for that as well, so. We'll
The
find
thought
out.
of stamped concrete ever come across anybody's mind? versus the bricks in the North
That
Country?
is something that we did, yeah, that, it may come to that, it might just be concrete, and just abandon the bricks.
Stamped concrete is beautiful today, they can do anything they want with it. And I
It's pretty
think it
good
will last.
with,
If you get, I'll offer this, if you get to the point where you definitely want to remove sidewalks, let me know and I'll see what I can do to save you that cost.
okay.
Of him
Do you want
having
me, do you want me to speak with, the village or approach you before the village?
I think you probably, I would think you should approach him.
Okay,
And if I get him in, I'll stop and see the house.
okay, that'll be all right.
But we can probably remove them, and then, it's up to Jeff too, I don't know how he's gonna figure this, garlic
Well, if
too.
he's gonna remove it, he's going to charge me.
That's right,
Yeah.
But we could probably remove the curb in that for you.
That would be great, thank you.
It shouldn't take us that long to do it.
You know, as far as,
Is that,
No, I think that makes
Yeah,
sense.
great.
You can save some money, why not do it? You can fit it in your work schedule.
Yep.
as far as notifying the board about some of these projects, I mean, I've just been on the library board since January. I mean, they've done a heck of a lot of things there.
No doubt.
With the streaming, the workstation, the project that you're developing now to change the digital photo. I mean, I wasn't aware, and I don't know if I'm convinced, that she has to come to the board every time they get a cost-free improvement to the library. I mean, at what point do we do that?
Well, so that applies to all buildings, the museum, the airport, I was on board at the airport
Well,
yesterday.
I just don't want to discourage her.
I don't either, and that's not my intent at
From getting
all.
all this great
Yeah.
grant money that,
No, I think it's great, it's been neglected for a long, long time, I agree completely.
does she, I mean, Sam and I usually are at the, one of us are at the board meeting. I mean, we make a report. I don't know if we goofed on that.
Well,
Failed
yeah.
to mention.
Right, and I think Elaine said that the scope has changed in a hurry too, so you may not have been aware of something. but- Okay, anything else?
Great work, Elaine, thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
very good.
thank you very much. for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you to your board members that have been and drove. Do a great service.
Okay, resolution to authorize the supervisor to sign the final grant agreement for two airport projects, drainage improvement, which is a construction project, and taxiway, A rehab phase one, which is also a construction project. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let's come back to the village water systems, I think that may be a more lengthy discussion. Just don't let me forget it. Mall fireworks. I've been approached, as has the village, by the new owners of the mall, seeking buy-in, if you will, support of the fireworks presentation on July 3rd. They're going to go through with it anyway, it's a cost of $10,000. They're wondering if we can anyway help defray costs, some of that cost. I think they met with, were you at the meeting today with the mayor?
I was.
Yeah. And do you have any takeaways? I guess I'm not.
How much are they asking for, and what did the village contribute?
Well, the village doesn't know yet, they just met today, so they'll have to talk about it. But they weren't specific on the, what they were seeking from the town. They were just looking for a donation, and whatever we gave them would offset what the 10,000 that they're going to spend. They're going to expand it, although I remember a couple of years ago, I think they had the bouncy house and things for the children. They've got a clown and some other things to try and draw people over to the mall. They're going to have food vendors outside and try and make it a little fun for the people to be there. It's going to be more towards the front of the mall where it's been at the side. So they're seeking, some of the funding some of the donations that they've asked for, people were reluctant because of they didn't have time to put it in their budget this year. So he said as soon as July 4th weekend is over, they're going to start working towards next year.
Who said that, Steve?
It's Mark Gertler, it's from a representative of the mall.
It's from Shapiro Group, that wasn't there, yeah, you know.
Who was going to be here, wish he could have been. But
Yeah, he had a family conflict, exactly. I like the fact that they're trying to make it more of an event, there's no doubt it draws a ton of people. I mean, I like the idea, I'm not in favor of us going in for a significant percentage of the $10,000, but I think we should consider something.
I do as well.
Any other thoughts on that? Any motion?
What, if this board agreed that we would kick in some, first, how much, and secondly, where would we get it?
I'm thinking in the neighborhood of $2,000. We would obviously need to find a specific fund to take it out of. I believe, I always go back to this fund, Nancy keeps reminding me, there's still some money in the promotion fund that we pay Don Meisner out of, and it shows some of the fishing stuff out of. I'm not sure what the balance of that is right now. Last I knew it was 26,000, but then of course, the payments to Don have come out since then, so.
And you have the balance of his contract.
Right, for this year, yeah, this year, so 6 months of his contract.
And you have some fishing tournaments, especially.
Right,
And
for only
don't
one.
you have some cash money that you have to put out for some of those?
We have not made that commitment yet.
Okay.
We talked about that. We had an email about that. We need to discuss that at some point too, Tom.
And we don't know about how much combat money we're actually going to get. We've only received one payment so far.
There's $3,800 left in the spring cleanup budget. I don't know if
I don't believe
that
we
can
can
be
do
used.
that.
No.
Highway money can only be spent for highway, once it's in a highway fund.
But we can't change the purpose of the line item?
No, not in the highway fund.
That sounds like bureaucratic overkill, but if we want to change our own budget, can't do that.
Like right now, we have 16,338 left. in this year.
That's with, is that Don's?
Not for the rest of the year, just what has been paid up to in this audit.
Okay, so there's still a balance through there, okay. All right.
Where does this help the whole town of Messina? I understand that it does draw people. But what draws people is they typically show up, because we've been out there before with a fire truck, from mid-afternoon to dusk. And typically what people come, they partake in the children's events, watch the fireworks, and drive off and go home. My question is, how does that help the town of Messina, any of our local businesses? Do you guys think that it's giving the mall money by shoppers, or do you think they shop that day, or do you think they just partake in the events, view the fireworks and go? I mean, I think if we're gonna start investing, we need to start thinking about our businesses and how we can help our businesses, like our hotels and restaurants and places like that, where it retails.
You don't know from the fire truck whether they're stopping to eat, gas up, some of them shopping at other places in the mall. That's the whole idea behind promotional money, I thought.
I think I'm more comfortable with an event at the mall spending $2,000 or $2,500 than $10,000 on a fishing price. I'm more comfortable with that.
Well, the 10,000 is gonna be covered by entry fee.
But it wasn't last year though. for people that fish.
You know, and we have to, I think, start thinking of the mall as our business. They've just painted the Penny's building, they have the plans, have showed us plans for a significant redesign of the exterior of the mall. They're gonna be doing capital work on the infrastructure as far as the parking lot. I just think it's sort of a good faith effort on our part, saying we wanna work with you and
Didn't it come last year and we turned it down?
yes, that was the previous ownership, which had reinvested nothing in the mall, let it fall apart.
I would say another thing that we've already given very, very, as far as I'm concerned, generous tax reduction as an incentive for them to become successful in their venture.
Okay, if there's no motion, we'll,
I make a motion that we give them $2,000 for the
is there a second?
Second.
All right, we've had a fair amount of discussion, we don't have any more.
And that's coming out of promotion, right?
Yeah, I think it should.
Yes. Want that part of the motion?
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't mind another motion, I think it's okay, the amendment. Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank
Can
you.
Don set his booth up out there?
What's that?
Can Don set his booth up out there?
You probably could. Probably could. Okay, well, let's go back to the village water, it's not getting any easier. In the joint meeting we had with the village a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, they proposed in the past that we take over and make part of the existing town water district, a number of spurs, for lack of a better word, of the village water system that go out into the township, namely Highland Road, South Main Street, some I think on North Main too, to a degree out there. They service the people off the main that's coming in from the intake. Am I forgetting somewhere? Those are the three main areas, Highland Road and the roads off Highland Road. And what's that? Yeah, South Main 420, right? Yeah, North Main, I just said both of those, yeah, South Main. Yeah, South Main and North Main, both. They service the people coming off the main from the intake, that comes into the village, they service the people out there. It would become part of those service laterals would become part of and those customers would become part of our district. And,
So then,
and there's some on the side.
the water line that goes out Pontoon Bridge Road over there,
Yeah,
River Road,
yes.
that's not in our district?
River Road is, but the homes that are serviced outside the village on Pontoon Bridge Road, I do not believe are in the district.
Pontoon Bridge is, but from, I think the crosswalk where Madison School is,
Okay.
and then you've got that little section.
Yeah, the small
Until
section.
you go over that little causeway.
Right.
That's village.
Yeah. It's outside
So
the
that-
village boundary, but it's in the town's, but it's,
Yeah.
it's part of their water system right now, not part of the
Right,
town's
not
water.
part of that district.
But it's not within the village boundary. All these areas are not within the village boundary. And they have offered maintenance, they say the lines are in relatively good shape. They've offered free maintenance, no-cost maintenance of those lines, should there be any repairs needed for 3 years.
I didn't see in any of the paperwork, did we ever clear up ownership on that?
I have not seen anything clear up on that. The mayor said they own it. So, I think we would, if we want to do this, I think we would need some proof of that, and I'm not that I don't believe the mayor, just, I'm sure a lawyer would say the same thing. So does anybody want to make a motion to amend the village, the town water district to include these portions of the village system that lie outside the village?
Is there some urgency?
No, I don't know, is there?
Well, they would like,
They want it done,
clear it up. They've
Yeah.
been
for several years, and they kicked around, yeah.
urging us to do this for several years.
Yeah, at least.
There's some development as well, that would not include that development.
Off Highland Road?
Yeah.
I don't think so at this point, no. At least that's not, I don't think that's proposed.
Maybe we should clarify that and clarify that the
We need
village
to
actually owns
clarify
it
that.
before we actually accept
Do
it.
you know that, Frank?
The water line is in question,
So,
Yeah.
because there's no oversight when it was installed.
Right.
We wouldn't include that.
No, I wouldn't include that. In the village,
Excluding that.
So what are we looking for? Ownership of the line and what's included and not included in this taking over of this district, right? So we can be clear on the line that we're talking about?
I would say so.
And
We should have a list of every section of line before we actually vote on it, I think. And clarification that the village does own it at this time. It's not owned by a private owner,
or perceived to be owned by.
or, yeah, or, that's a good word, or perceived to be owned by another
There's
individual.
litigation
Yeah.
right now.
And we can put it on next month's agenda, providing we get all the.
is 3 years long enough? It's not in my mind.
Well, then I don't think we could go on this thing.
That's fine. I'm just saying, do we want to go back and say something more than 3 years, or is 3 years enough?
I think as many as we can get.
Well, I think 3 years is enough. I mean, it's,
I'm not sure about that.
For the numbers they presented, it seems like it'd be enough, but how can you predict breaks, right?
Can't.
yeah, but we would be collecting a maintenance fee for those 3 years. And it would build up our maintenance budget, which
Needs it.
needs it. And we wouldn't have to touch that specific part for 3 years. I mean, at some point, you taking advantage of the village water system by holding them hostage for longer, or?
I don't look at it as holding you hostage.
Okay. Anything else? Just making some
I
notes.
feel more comfortable waiting too. I mean,
That's fine.
Bob's writing away, there'll be an article, and if somebody has something to question about it, we can hear from the residents that are gonna be involved anyway.
Okay. All right, and I'll craft correspondence with the mayor and the DPW superintendent, asking them to clarify some of this stuff. Okay, next up, rescue squad audit. We've talked before and never acted on having an audit of our, of the billing for the Messina Rescue Squad, operated and owned and operated by the town, does for resource recovery. We have a proposal from a company called Fuss Charles Chambers LLP. It's a CPA firm and a healthcare consulting group. They are proposing that they can come in and do such an audit at a rate of just about $150 an hour. Of course, the cost would come out of resource recovery as well. So it wouldn't have any impact on the taxpayers. So I think it's overdue. There hasn't been an audit there in how long? It's ever been one since we started
Probably
building?
4 years.
How many?
And there was never a full audit.
Yeah.
They were just agreed upon procedure audits done,
Okay.
and we haven't seen one of those in, I think, 3 years, maybe 4.
Okay. I don't, yeah, I don't remember seeing one since I've been here, but it probably was, I just don't remember it, so. I entertain a motion to engage Fuss Charles Chambers to perform an audit of the billing for the Messina Rescue Squad.
So moved.
Motion and a second, discussion.